Welcome back to the channel. So glad to see you. Glad to have you. Pull up a chair. A lot of times when I'm talking about tools, when I'm talking about knives, folks tell me, Johnny, oh, over here in Europe, I wish we had all of the options that you guys have in the States, because we just don't. We don't have OCC tools where we can get a good quality knife for relatively inexpensive. And then I have other European friends saying, Johnny, I wish more folks knew about this company in particular. I wish they knew, because you can get good quality knives in Europe and have them be inexpensive and not be terribly expensive. It's that people don't know about them. And my European friends have been telling me about one company in particular, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. What a Lovelies was the first one I saw mention this. So I just want to call you out because you're the first one I saw mention this company, and that is MStein, right? This is a Slovakian company, and they have been making knives since the 90s. This is not like some big box corporation where you don't know who's running the place. It's ran by this guy named Peter, okay, and his family. This is a family-run operation. It's not some like weird, conglomerate. We don't get to see who's making the knives, or you don't know what's going on, right? This is a family-run operation, and they're making affordable knives. And I want to talk about what quality it is. I want to talk about what they look like, how they perform, because I spent about 40 to 45 hours using these knives in the past 2 weeks. I have carved with them a lot, every day for about 3 to 4 hours. And like I said, it's a minimum of 40 hours, a maximum of 45. In that range is how long I spent carving with these knives and with these gouges that I got from them. And yeah, so let's go ahead and flip the camera around. We'll jump right into it, and I'll go over what my thoughts are. Let's start by talking about their knives. The two knives they sent me are the N5 and the N10. Starting with the N5, this is their rough out knife, and this is a 2¼ inch rough out blade, as you can see right there, 2¼ inches, which is the exact size you want for a rough out blade. Here is my Helvy Flex rough out knife, and you can see that's exact same blade length. It's about the same shape, slightly different. The issue that you might have with this knife is that it's got a micro bevel here at the end, right? The slight Scandi grind. Now, I have spent, as I said, about 40 to 45 hours carving with this knife. A minimum of 40, maximum of about 45. I find that the blade carves really well. I mean, see this corner here, right? That's a big corner. It's a good sized corner. You can easily rough things out and chip off huge chunks of wood. It is not a difficult knife to use. Someone who's new may find, those are big wood chips, right? Someone who's new may find not having a flat grind knife difficulties in stropping that. It is not that difficult to do, and I'm going to take a strop real fast and show you. All right, when you put this knife here flat on the strop, you're going to be missing right there. You see, you're going to be missing that little bit of edge on the knife. But if you just pivot it slightly, see that shadow underneath the edge? Pivoting it slightly like so, that back edge now has a shadow under it, and that front side is against the blade bevel. That's all you have to do to strop this properly. Just that slight turn to put that blade edge on that. So it's not a difficult knife to use if you keep that in mind when you're stropping. You get to adjust how that blade or how that that beveled edge meets the strop, and keeping it in the strop, because you're not wanting to strop this flat portion. This flat portion doesn't need to be stropped or cleaned up at all. You just want to do that bevel. That's all you're looking to clean up. So when it comes to this knife, bang per buck, this is an absolutely stellar knife. It's a fantastic knife. It's a great starting knife. Are there better knives out there? Yes, there are Helvys. There are definitely better knives out there. Is there a better knife out there for this price? No, I don't think that there is. I don't think that you can get a better knife for this price. In the States, it's going to be hard to justify having someone telling someone to buy this knife, because the shipping and handling is going to cost you more than the knife. But if you're already in Europe, the shipping and handling on this isn't going to be crazy like it would be for us with the VAT tax and all the other stupid expenses that we have to pay to get something like this over to the States. So I definitely, absolutely, positively would suggest it to someone who is in Europe already, or surrounding country, somewhere nearby there. And if you're looking to get a bunch of tools at once and you're in the US, maybe you would want to do it. Maybe you'd want to pick this knife up too if you're already getting maybe some palm tools and you're going to pay for the shipping all in one thing, one go. That might be worthwhile. So definitely, if you're in Europe, I cannot see how you might not want to have this. Like you want this as one of your first knives. It's absolutely a great knife. I like the handle. I like a big bulky handle, one that gives you a lot of meat to hold on to. I wasn't sure whether or not I would like the octagonal shape, because when you set it down, you notice it doesn't roll like you might expect a knife to, right? And I like that. I like that it sets where I put it and it stays where I put it. So I didn't know how I would feel about that, and I don't mind it a bit. So like I said, I've carved a lot with it. It's dirty. It's not clean. I put it to the buffing wheel. I stropped it with the buffing wheel. I stropped it with a regular strop, and it cleans up well either way. It does well, and I haven't had any issues with it whatsoever. It has just been a solid carver. And I've got carvings here in the back because each one of these I have either carved from start with this, or I've spent a lot of time carving on it. I've got these all covered with boiled linseed oil and a little bit of umber paint, or raw sienna paint mixed in there for coloring, so I'm going to paint these later. But these guys were all carved with these MStein knives, and with the rough out knife and this detail knife. So let's talk for a moment about the detail knife, because like I said, this is not that's not the best knife in the world, but it is absolutely the best bang per buck knife that I believe I have ever used. I think that bang per buck, it is number one. If I count how much you get for the price, that's an absolutely fantastic knife. And it is, I mean, it is not having any problem creating nice, like, look at the shine on that cut. It's doing well. It has held its edge exceptionally well the entire time. I have put it through the buffer and put it through the stropper to try to maintain it and see things, but I haven't really noticed a difference. I used it immediately right out of the box, and it carves like it does right now when it was immediate out of the box. Like right when I first got it, it carved like it does right here, right now. I wasn't sure how I'd like that bevel and how that bevel would handle when carving with it. But as you can see, like, it's not something that is difficult to adapt to. I have easily adapted to it. You can take big chunks, little chunks. It does well either way. So that's the rough out knife. This is the N10, the detail knife. This knife I wasn't planning on asking for from them. And in the conversation that I had with their rep, they're like, Johnny, you should get this knife as well. This is for like smaller stuff, and you're probably going to like this. So here's what I like for one, okay? It comes to a point. It's a triangular shaped knife. Now, I had this knife and I got so excited about what you could do with this knife because the blade design, right? The geometry of it coming to this point means that the pivot point of this knife here, okay? The pivot point is the center of the blade. And that gives you a lot of options I never thought I would use when it comes to a knife and how to turn the knife in wood, with the pivot point being right in the center and the blade, the cutting edge, coming out to that point, and the spine coming down to that point. You can do things with this knife blade that you wouldn't have thought possible. So I can do these circular divots like that right there, right? It's just a circular cut, and it's a divot that you could do in there. Now, I started doing these, like a bunch of them all in a row. I wound up chipping the knife blade because I was being rough with it. I was being terribly rough with it. So I did chip the tip. It was exceptionally easy to fix. I have chipped the blades on Lee Ferguson knives and Helvey knives and flex cut knives. I have chipped the tip off of many a knife. I do not judge a knife poorly if I chip the tip on a detail knife because it's something that I do a lot. Maybe it's because I'm rougher with knives than most folks. So I'm not holding that against them in any way, because I don't know of a knife brand that I haven't chipped a tip on a knife with, because I use knives a lot. Like I said, in just a week and a half, I put 45 hours on these knives, using them primarily as my sole carving device, and I have just, yeah, I've liked them. When it comes to detail work, I'm able to do a lot with this knife. I was able to get into little nooks and crannies and do things that I wouldn't have thought possible. This blade is a bit thicker than I normally want to use, and I did not have any issues with it. I was just exceptionally impressed with this knife, and I can see why they were telling me, hey, Johnny, you should try this knife too. I do like that the geometry of the knife allows you to do swooping cuts, like that nice curved cut, and you can see how smooth it is right there, right? It allows you to do a lot with a small form factor blade, and yeah, it's just a really nice knife. And again, The handle, I don't mind. I don't like a really smooth handle. And there have been some knife manufacturers that come out with knife handles that are just exceptionally smooth, and they feel like they're going to fall in my hand. And I wind up putting leather wrap on them or vet tape on them to make them where I can hold on to them easier. The handles are made out of hornbeam, and I hadn't heard of hornbeam before, so I had to look it up. And it is a genus of the birch family. So it's a type of birch wood. But I like it. I like the feel of it. Like I said, it's not glossy, and so it feels like you can feel the wood grain, but it's sanded well, so it's not going to splinter. It doesn't feel like I'm going to catch a splinter, but it doesn't feel like it's coated like thickly with anything, and so it feels like a wood handle, and I don't feel like I'm going to lose my grip on it, which I really like about the handles. So yeah. So this detail knife, number 10. I mean, bang per buck with the price. If you're looking for a starter knife and you want something, like, this is a really great knife. If I was living in Europe, I would definitely have this knife in my toolbox as well. What was I most impressed with outside of the knives? Because this is not what I was expecting to be impressed with. The reason I wanted to do a review on MStein tools is because I wanted to show folks that there were options for good knives, like that over in Europe, that they could get that were relatively inexpensive and were just a solid knife. And a few of my European friends said, hey, Johnny, you know, this is the option. This is the OCC tools for Europe. This is what people can get that is just, you know, affordable and easy to get in the hobby. And here's the knife that they should be trying to get. So that's why I wanted to try them out. And that's why I reached out to MStein about their knives. So I thought, that's fantastic. But then when I got on their site, I saw that they had palm tools. And I thought, wow, okay, I wonder what their palm tools look like. And their palm tools, you can take a look on the left here, look a lot like file palm tools. And so I said, hey, you know, can you send me a set of those as well? And they said, sure. They said, but Johnny, we just saw this video you did, right, where I talked about Badger State Blades palm tools. I talked about how much I loved this palm tool. And they said, Johnny, you want this set, the SL01, because they have handles that we think you're going to like. I said, all right, okay, let's try them out then. Let's see what you're talking about. And it kind of impresses me a little bit when someone stops you on what you think you want, right? When it comes to reviewing their product, and they said, no. What you really want, Johnny, is this, right? That's pretty confident in what they've got. And so I wasn't sure how to take that at first. Now that I've got a chance to use them, I understand exactly why they were as confident as they were. That's because they're really good tools. Like I said, I have been using them to do these characters, right? Like this little version of Arnold Schwarzenegger I tried to do, you know? Like I have been using them a lot, and I really just enjoy them. When it comes to Rockwell hardness, as I mentioned already, they are right up there. I have not had to clean these up. I have not stropped them in the 40 hours that I've used them. I have not had to sharpen them. I have not had anything chip. I have not had to stop what I'm doing to strop them in any way. And they're producing good, clean cuts. And they're really nice tools. And I like the handles. I like the handles a lot. For one, like the octagonal shaped handles make it to where it doesn't roll away. So I like that about it. Two, I love the shape of the handle. And if you don't like this shape of handle, and you're not like me, you prefer this file shape handle, they have them in that shape. So you can definitely get them there. But the thing is that it's a solid quality metal. It's hardened properly, and the price is just absolutely fantastic compared to a File or a Stubai. Like, File or Stubai are much more expensive than these. These are significantly less expensive, and they're decent. Now, when it comes to the blade profile, like the cutting profile, so take a look at this 6.8, right? This is generally comparative like to a file tool. It's not that far off. And you can see like the cutting profiles on them. Let me get to where I can see this better here. The cutting profiles on them are not that far off. They are pretty darn similar. File smooths that back end out a bit more, and this one's shinier because it's been on my buffing wheel a lot. This one is not as shiny in the back because it hasn't been on my buffing wheel. And if it was, it would be shiny and mirror-like as well. It doesn't take long to get it mirror-like on there, but this is the 8.6, which is a closer sweep to a number 9 than that one, right? But that back end right here, that angle that you're carving at, is generally about the same. And when Stubai comes out, right, someone has to file these down or regrind these down at a more sheer angle. And they do that, and this is a longer angle now. But Treeline, which is where I bought this from, they do that to the tools prior to sending it to you. So Treeline changes that cutting profile. So if I wanted to make this one cut more like a Stubai, the Stubai I have, I could grind that profile down a little bit in the back, and it would, but it doesn't, like it cuts right now like a file tool does. It's just the same kind of smoothness to it, the same kind of feel to the tool, which is just fantastic. And like you can see, like it's producing nice, smooth, glossy type cuts. I mean, it's just doing really well. I mean, it's got a good profile. Yeah, I like them. I like the handles so much more than my Stubais and files. I am thinking, they got the handles for sale on MStein's site for like 350 euros. And I thought about buying a bunch of them and just changing things over. Honestly, and I hesitate to say this, knowing what I know right now, would I buy my file and Stubai tools that I had? No. I probably would have bought these, knowing what I know right now, like in this moment. After spending 45 hours with these tools, I wouldn't have bought the file and Stubai. I would have bought these. I love the handles so much more. And they are solid tools, and they cut really well, and they're significantly less expensive. So when it comes to gouges, I mean, honestly, there are not as many options for sizes on MStein's site as you'll find on File or Stubai. They have a wider range, but I'm so impressed that what I did immediately was I looked on their site and I saw they had a soft V available, and I purchased it myself and put it to ship. It has not arrived yet, but it takes a little bit for shipping from Slovakia. I have no issues with these knives. If I knew when I started what I know now, I would have all of my palm tools probably be these, except for the ones that I might not be able to find in a different size, right? This little V tool, I didn't talk about the V tool. This little V tool is a good little V tool. This is like for eyes and for simple little stuff. It's a smaller one, but I mean, it produces nice, clean cuts. It's not one of those like a 90-degree V tool. It's a sharper one. It's about a 60-degree V tool, I think. Yeah, I think it's about 60. And it's just it's a 12-2. So 2 millimeters wide, number 12. And it's just a solid little tool. The carving set here that we bought, the SL01, what sizes did it come with? It comes with the 12-2. The first number is the type of blade, and the second number is the width, okay? So a 12-2 stands for V-tool. Anything 12 and over are V-tools. Anything lower than 12 are gouges, so they have curve sweep. So 12-2 is the first V-tool, and that's a 2 millimeter wide V-tool. This is a number 6-8, so it's 8 millimeters wide, and it's a 6 for the sweep. So it comes with a 6-8. So a 12-2 and a 6-8. It also comes with a 1-8, so 8 millimeters wide and a 1. So this is a very flat one for getting up underneath things or just using it as a general purpose chisel, right? Not everyone thinks they have a use for a flat chisel until you have one, and then you start using it, and then you wind up using it far more often than you thought you might. And I think that is true for ones just absolutely all the time. I think people don't think they're going to use it, and then they get it and they go, oh wow, yeah, this has a lot of uses, and they wind up using it a whole lot. So that's my opinion on a 1, underrated. The 11-1, this is just a really steep, like U-shaped sweep right here, right? And it's a 1 millimeter wide, and it's absolutely fantastic for putting in those little lines, right? When you're going up under here, you know, or you're putting in that line right there along the bottom edge of the eye bags and whatnot, you know. It's a really great tool for that. It's just a really great tool for that. This is a 10-3, so it's 3 millimeters wide. It's a lot deeper. It's more like a number 9, right? They don't have a number 9. They got 8s and they got 10s. And an 8, of course, is halfway between a 7 and a 9, and a 10 is right between and a 9 and 11. So they don't have the same numbers you might expect to see elsewhere, but you don't need them. You don't need to have the same numbers you expect to see elsewhere, right? This is also an 8.6, so 6 millimeters wide, and it's an 8 sweep, and yeah, just a fantastic set of tools. And I love the handles. I can't say that enough. They are so fantastic. I like the hornbeam wood feel. I like how small they are, and you can use them like a pencil and do things. And it's just yeah, solid tools. They've held up well. 45 hours worth of use, and I still feel that way. You're probably going to see me using them more often now. And now that I've done the video, you might wind up seeing me change things on them or dye the handles. I always do something to knives and whatnot. When it comes to my Lee Ferguson knife, I wound up cutting the back of the knife off and then putting leather wrap on there so I could, I like the feel of it a little bit thicker in the hand, which is one of the things I liked about this knife here. It's thicker in the hand, and it's not smooth like this one came. And it's because it's not smooth, it feels like it's not. When a knife is too smooth to me, it feels like it's going to slip out of my hand. I like it to be a little rough or a little bit, something to grip on. That way I feel like it's there and solid, not going anywhere. And so that's something that MStein has going for them, and that that feel is already there for those knives. So, yeah. And that's what I have for that today. And those are my thoughts. Thank you so much for sticking around watching the end of the video. The summation of what my thoughts on this are, I'm glad that I have a couple of their knives right now. I'm going to reach out and buy the N2, which you can see on the screen right here. I'm going to get that knife because it looks like it's really affordable, and it looks like it's got a blade shape that I think would be really neat. So I want to have that knife too to go with the other MStein knives I have. I think that'd be a nice set of knives to keep. I collect knives because I'm like that. I enjoy having knives, and these knives are of such a quality. I'm not going to be getting rid of these ones. I'm going to be keeping them, and I'd like to have that one to complete the set. So I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be reaching out. If I had the option of starting over, which you always do, of course, but if I knew at the beginning what I knew now, right? Because I already have a bunch of tools. I'm not going to replace tools just to replace tools. But if I didn't have all the palm tools I have, I would probably start, knowing now what I know now, I'd probably start with these. I would probably get every one of these that I think that I might want. And yeah, these would be my go-to tools. I'm probably going to use these more than I use my file or Stubai tools if I have the size for them, because I like these handles so much more. And I am still thinking about buying the replacement handles that they have on their site, because I might take some of these Stubai and file tools out of those handles that I hate and putting them in this hornbeam handle that MStein makes, because I like that handle so much more when it comes to a palm tool. For someone with bigger hands, like it's so much more comfortable to use a tool like that. I really enjoy it, and I can't quite express that enough how much I do like that handle. And I'm so glad that they talked me out of getting the other palm tool in that conversation. They can see right there, right? They said, you should try these. And they were absolutely correct. They were absolutely right. And I like a company that's willing to steer you a little bit on what they think you might enjoy more, or what they think you're going to like more, because they were correct to steer me a little bit on this. And I'm so glad they did. My final thoughts are: solid company, reliable tools, reliably tempered. They're working well. 40 hours of time in it on them, sharpened from the factory. I did not sharpen these. And 45 hours in, and I still don't have to sharpen them. They're still holding their edges well, and they're doing well. And I have used the dickens out of them. I mean, I have really put them through their paces. Yeah, I'm going to keep you updated, because I'm going to keep using them. I'm going to keep them in my my go bag for a while, and keep focusing on them, and then see how they do further. I don't think I'm going to have any problems with them. I haven't had any problems with them yet. I'm just excited about them, and I'm really going to keep using them, because I like using them, because I like these handles so much more. That's what's going on. So yeah. That's where I'm at. Thank you so much for sticking around in the video. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, if you enjoyed this content in any way, shape, or form, like the video, subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out. Outside of that, head over to Instagram, Facebook, give me a like and a follow over there. And yeah, I'll see you next time. So long, folks.